This week's episode of the Peach Life podcast is brought to you by Lost Articles Clothing, an independent skate company based out of Chico, California. After hearing their story on another podcast and ordering some of their product, I just knew we had to work with these guys. Everything from the materials that they chose to the printing and design aesthetic was just spot on. These guys are doing amazing things in their community and helping to build and collaborate with some amazing artists for some unique product releases. Go check out all their gear at the link below and use the code PEACHLIFE for 15% discount on your order today.
Thank you guys for coming today. I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to this for like a couple months now.
Oh yeah, it's been quite the journey getting this set up. It's hard to schedule, honestly.
Yeah, it just sure is. Trying to just figure out time schedules, work schedules with multiple people is always quite a bit of a job. But I'm here today with Carlos and Garret from Lost Articles Clothing. I'm really excited to have you guys. I guess for me, where the story kind of started is one of our buddies, Jake. He has a podcast, and maybe it was probably around November or December of last year that you guys.
I believe so. It's a little late in the year.
So really that long?
Yeah.
I feel like we just did that. That's crazy.
Yeah, time's really been flying by this. Yeah, since
seriously.
You guys were on his company, on his podcast, and just kind of hearing your guys' story. I love the story. It kind of, for me, kind of fits out of the same kind of culture that I grew up in, and kind of right in the same scene. So when I hear your guys' story, it just kind of fell into kind of, for my lap, just right to the kind of clothing I liked, and just kind of the kind of scene I was always in. So, for you guys, how did you kind of come to this idea and kind of start the company?
Well, I mean, for me, I always wanted to have my own kind of project and something to do, and then Garrett and I kind of just got together, started talking about it. I know you've always wanted to do some kind of creative endeavor, and honestly we kind of just talked about it for a couple weeks, and we just went for it, and it's honestly been such a blast to do. We've had our hiccups here and there, but just with anything, it does. But I mean, my main thing with it was I wanted to create something that I can use to help others in a sense, which you've kind of seen with our collaborations with you here and there, and promoting others. But that's kind of where I came from it, and then.
I grew up in a skateboarding kind of snowboarding culture, and actually I was talking to this lady a couple days ago up at Squaw who is in the baby boom generation. We were just talking about difference in generation, and she's like, well, kind of sucks for you guys because you guys have to be real creative and to make money and actually make it and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're kind of right. And so thinking about it like that, I feel a lot of people I know are I make clothes. And it's weird when you start doing something how you meet other people who share similar interests, and you can piggyback off of each other and bounce ideas. And I think that's super cool, but I just really wanted to stop buying clothes at stores. And I feel like it's so much better if you can buy your friend's shirt or a band's shirt, a local band shirt, or or just wear your own stuff. Because I don't shop at stores. I don't go to the mall or anything. I go to Salvation Army, and that's about it, dude.
Ross is my top of the line as far as where I go. If it's not most of the time, if it's not a $12 shirt from Ross, it's
if I'm going to a wedding, I go to Ross.
Yeah,
that's it.
So no, I definitely I feel you coming from that point too, and just I loved your guys' kind of the concept from the beginning. For me is Lost Articles. I mean, if on my tattoo here I have the word not all who wander are lost. That's what I have on my tattoo, and it's, I don't know, I think it's just cool, the whole concept of the name and kind of where it kind of came from for you guys, and just what it even possibly represents to people. It just, and with just the branding with your logo of even the, navigation, the directions, the north-south, I don't know, it really hit home for me with, kind of what you guys are going for.
Yeah, the thing with the name, actually, Garrett came up with it. I think I might have mentioned that last time we did a podcast. But I loved it. When he pitched it to me, I was like, that's perfect. Because I think to you were talking about like kind of like representing like the articles of clothing that get lost when he goes snowboarding. Like you'll see like random, gloves and stuff like that.
That's hilarious.
And,
the one glove sitting on the side.
Yeah, and I loved it because I was like, well, that's really the vibe we want to give out. You know, we're there for like the underdog. We're there for the people that don't have the same kind of resources that all these other people might, or don't know the same kind of people. And so I really loved it. I love how like you can like it's lost art. Pretty cool. And like so I
didn't even realize that till just now, but you're right.
We need to make something that highlights that. We probably
even a shirt where even if it's just like the art is the different color. That's really a cool way to do it.
We really do want to implement it, but we also want to do it like in a way where like, okay, the shirt's still got to look nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like the whole like skater vibe and like snowboarder vibe, but I also want something that you can wear in public.
Yeah.
Or like to a college campus.
Yeah.
Or like to your mom's house. So I don't want it to be like overly like boom in your face like we're rebels.
Yeah, I do like that. That's a good way to say it too. Is like you want things that you can just wear into every situation. I tend to be most of the time pretty bland and that kind of stuff too. Other than this random
that
social
shirt
distancing.
Is awesome.
Yeah, it's one of the people we had on the podcast, it's their shirt, #1 boss. And when I saw this, I was just like, that's
I love it.
perfect.
It's like one of the first things I noticed with your shirt.
Yeah, it's so cool. I wear it. People are always like, you could tell they're trying to be like, is he making fun of it? Is he like, I don't get what the message is, and I always find that kind of intriguing to me.
It does kind of give off a vibe of like, is that a statement or is it not?
Yeah.
But like, dude, the art on that shirt is really cool.
Yeah.
I just like the idea. And like that's like my goal.
And that's one of the things that really impressed me with you guys was the quality of your guys' product is
we strive really hard for that.
Yeah, I could tell when I got the shirt and I looked at it and I looked at the inside and I was like, oh, yes, like because that's so important to me. I mean, I buy a shirt based off of what polyester to cotton blended is half the time. Like usually for me it's really important just carrying what quality, if it's wool, what kind of wool they're using, like all the different little things. So to see the quality that you guys had picked with your product was just amazing.
Oh yeah, we take. I think that's probably what takes us the longest before we actually start like getting the shirts produced or any kind of clothing. It's literally finding the perfect quality of shirt to where we can still sell it at a price that people that don't want to dish out $35 for a shirt can buy.
I don't.
And that's the hard, and that's the hard part too. And as a company owner, you always have to. I mean, that's maybe the hardest part. Is like, how do I build a product that I would buy myself, even at the price that I normally want to pay? And I mean, obviously, it's always hard.
Oh yeah, even the $20 price tag for us is for a shirt is high. Yeah. I personally, I'm like, oh man, I really don't want to sell this for $20, but like. I know if we don't, like, we're just saying,
If you don't, you're paying for the shirt, so
for real. I was really happy with the way that our long sleeves came out, the crew necks. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one that he got.
That was my favorite one.
I just destroyed, like, it took me a month to, like, just destroy. And not from, like, the quality, just from overuse and overwear. I was telling him when we were talking, it was, like, that weird time of, like, late February, March, kind of, like, where it's starting to get... It's still a little cool, but not cool enough for a jacket anymore. And it just being like that kind of perfect long sleeve, kind of, but not quite a full sweater. I wore the crap out of it for like a month straight.
That was the goal with it. We wanted to make a long sleeve, but we also wanted to so people can like use it like when they go snowboarding, like as an undershirt. I know like he used it a lot.
Yeah, I wear it snowboarding all the time.
Okay,
it's great because it like you can hit the ground and not get ice burn.
Oh,
nice.
With it, okay.
Yeah, because like I've worn like the Under Armour stuff, and I'll just like it'll just get shredded underneath no matter what I do.
Yeah.
So it's like nice to have that little like layer of cushion.
Yeah, exactly. And just man, it's funny that you bring up like that was a cool part of it. The company as well that I personally liked is just that kind of creative side to the outdoors, skating, snowboarding, all things. I mean, kind of active. I love to me, an active lifestyle is a happy lifestyle. People,
100%.
People that get out there. I mean, everybody's got problems, but But like when you're out there in nature, the more you're out in nature, the more you're out there doing something hard, creative, skating, snowboarding, like those are things that are difficult, and that, you know, as people, if you can create a brand that really ties into that community and speaks to it, you know, I think that's what you guys are really doing.
That's cool. The cool thing about recreation is it doesn't even need to be like those hard tasks, you know, like you can get outside. And what's awesome now, so like my major is parks and natural resource management, and so we talk about this a lot, how right now is like recreation is a booming industry.
Yeah,
like post COVID, it's going to be insane. Like we're seeing like the most visitation of parks that we've ever seen, which I mean has its good sides and its bad sides, of course, with like resource management.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But it's just really like, and there's so many ways to recreate now too. Like if you are like can't ride a bike anymore, they have e-bikes now, like stuff like that, like doing accessibility options for recreation, because I think it's really important for just everybody to be active. And we're seeing even with COVID, like they already kind of proved that having a more active lifestyle makes you, you know, stronger when you're fighting off the virus and stuff like that. Like, dude, recreation is a
it is a booming industry. I mean, and you can just see it if you like just look at the types of things that are promoted on, you know, a lot on Instagram, social media, Twitter, like all those things. Like it is a lot of like these new outdoor kind of product. Everything from, you know, like Yeti and Hydro Flask, like everything from like just water bottles for your soccer mom, like getting out there, walking outdoors, to like hiking products, like long distance, you know, like everything, the whole industry is just, you know, I think that's an exciting time as well. When I remember when a lot of people were talking about like, oh, all these industries, all these companies are going to shut down, you know, because during COVID or because of COVID. I just remember thinking like, perfect, it's the perfect time to start a company. Like anybody that's starting one now might be in a better position than the ones that are already going and have oversight or, you know, overhead and all these other things that maybe these companies that are starting from the ground up have a, you know, kind of a leg to stand on.
Yeah. For us, it kind of messed things up.
It did mess things up a bit. I mean, it's not too terrible though. I think it's kind of given us a lot of time to really restructure and kind of like plan out how we want to go about things. And then with Chico State opening back up.
Yeah, now with you guys and what you guys were going for, I mean, that had to be like a real kind of effect, because you guys essentially were really kind of getting everything off the ground, right?
Yeah. I think we started like February, I want to say, of last year. So like we made like this shirt, and we made this was our first design. It was this black one and then a similar one, but just like
with the green. Yeah, and you guys still have that one around?
The green ones, no, we're completely sold out. We've thought about relaunching these. It probably wouldn't be till later in the year. We did. It's kind of like a you know, do we really want to relaunch like the OGs?
The OG ones, yeah.
So that's still like in the back burner, but we might like bring back the design and like the logo that it has, but just on a different product. But yeah, like we made our shirts. We've like sold them like extremely fast. I think we sold like 100 of like them just like super fast, like almost within a week.
Yeah.
Which is, to me, is insane, because like, you know, it's like
from the ground up, like hustling like that. That is a lot. Like
and like, you know, like we'll sell them to a friend and they'd be like, oh my god, like I love this shirt, and so they told their friends, and we're like, yo, like we can actually like do something out of this. And that's kind of like when we started going to the music side, because for me, I really want to have a platform to help artists out, whether it be music artists or like painting artists and stuff like that. So we actually like made some merch for Jam, and then those were selling pretty good. And I was just like, dude, like let's go for it, you know?
Yeah.
So we made a bunch of shirts, and then COVID hit, all the college kids left. And we're just like, you know, everything's closing down. We're like, oh my god, because we were planning to help one of the bands do like a little mini summer tour. So we had like all these awesome things planned out, and then all their shows just like in 1 week, like all of them pretty much got canceled.
Gone.
And
School's
we're
over.
like, like, well, there's that. So it kind of like became like a little side passive thing as we kind of like reworked. You know, I spent the whole summer like investing and being like, okay, I'm gonna set this money aside, and then when we come back for winter, with you know like the lawn season, so we did. We came back. We were able to like start making like a bunch of networking. That's like around the time we met Jake and all these other music artists. So, you know, in a way, you know, it sucked for a while. But it kind of like allowed me to kind of like be really creative as to how I went about what I was gonna do next.
Gotcha.
You know, and like we had to like really like think outside the box as to like who we reach out to. You know, what kind of collaborations do we make to like make it through this. And I think in the long term, once everything opens up more, it's gonna like help us like get catapulted because like you know we have all these connections now.
Yeah.
And once things open up, we'll be able to like actually do events. You know, like go places, help artists go to tours, like stuff like that.
Yeah, and as well, you know, and how much of a help or hindrance will be, I don't know, but the way that the world has changed a lot since the last year and a half of. Maybe even in the sense of kind of like the dying out of retail where like you know at some point maybe a few years ago the entire goal of most clothing companies was to get into retail, was to get into places where you know we're at least maybe moving into an era that any company, as long as they can you know provide you know what people want and get the product shipped, it's like can be successful. So it's like you know we're coming into a time where you know, there's kind of no barriers to entry.
Not at all.
You know, kind of like social media really is the barrier to entry for most of these.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to manage social media where you don't want to be really spammy, but you also, you know, want to make sure you're doing enough.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Getting like enough, like, you know, not enough reach.
Yeah.
Out there, so that part is tough, like managing how often we post, what we post. You know, like I don't like to just do like random like a post of one of our shirts. You know, like we kind of like to have like a meaning or a reason as to why we post.
Yeah, well, and you know what? That's true. I mean, I think like so when you look at your guys, even your Instagram account, like it doesn't always just portray the kind of same thing you would think from a clothing company. This is our product line. It's like this is what we're doing out in the community. This is what we're doing here. That you know, like there's a lot of different stuff that you guys even have on there that. Kind of speaks to that.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of skateboarding videos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, it's like that's right down the line of what you guys are going for.
Yeah.
And how have you guys found that? Like, obviously, I mean, it's right down the line of what I would think is like if I'm going to create a clothing line, kind of catering towards this kind of stuff. As you guys have gone, you know, to skate parks and to kind of build that community, how have you guys? Found that, and maybe you know how is that kind of industry doing these days? Or I mean, you know, if you've been kind of in it for a while or kind of grown up in it, you know, where do you see the state of kind of the
skateboarding's weird right now because I'm not a good skater and I would never be a sponsored skater. Like, I'm put that out there right now. I've skated for a long time and I am not good at it, but I think skateboarding is kind of becoming more popular, which is interesting to see, just because when I started skating, it was like, nah, everybody hates you.
Yeah.
You suck. And now it's like, you go to a park and people are nice, and they're like, oh, whoa, that was sick, even if you know in your heart of hearts that it wasn't sick. Someone will tell you that it was.
That's
cool.
interesting. It was ruthless and cutthroat when I was.
It was horrible.
That age, like it was not a place that even like 18-year-olds should have probably been when I was like.
It was awful.
That age, so that's interesting seeing that like the more maybe mainstream anything gets, like the more.
I'd like go to skate parks and just get bullied.
No.
Like as a kid, like because I couldn't skate well, and you know nobody really can start off skating good. But you just get bullied, and then eventually you start coming every day, and then eventually you get accepted, and then you're like, oh, and then you can bully people.
And it's very interesting that that's such a. I mean, it's you know comparative to like all those different things. Like it is not like a gang, but like it's like a family. Like any one of those things like creates like I remember that like the people that you had that you saw all the time at the skate park or any of those places, they just create these little communities that you know it's kind of cool that, you know, and especially for an area, any area in particular, that but to have, you know, whether it's some like local skate companies that are like, you know, helping the community, helping, whether it's, you know, doing what you guys can with like the videos you guys are, you know, having people put in of skaters, you know, it's just nice to see the kind of you guys trying to do something for those local scenes.
Yeah, and I think with it going to the Olympics too, it'll start to get more accepted by a larger population. I think like skateboarding as a whole scene is a lot different than what it was even like 4 or 5 years ago, because it's just now everybody skateboards. Like it's, well, not like everybody, but you see a broader group of people at a skate park now, and you'll see younger kids and older kids, and you'll see people not riding skateboards too, like scooters. Scooters blew up out of nowhere. Like
I remember that was like the tail end of like you were still like a pariah if you showed up to a skate park with a scooter. Like you were gonna be destroyed.
Yeah, and there's still people that have that mindset and that mentality of just like, no, it's my park, get out.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, honestly, for me at least, and the parks that I like to go to, it's that whole mentality of, oh, if you're nice and you're cool, then we're gonna hype you up, and that's it.
That respect issues.
And like I didn't have like a skate group in Chico for a long time, but I finally have like a good group of people that I go with consistently on like every Thursday, because we all work and you know, stuff. But so we go every Thursday and just skate. We go to Corning, actually. We don't really
I heard you talking
Chico
about
Park.
that. Okay, so how is that? I mean, the Corning is pretty decent.
Corning is a beautiful skate park, and they got a huge grant to build an amazing skate park and an amazing park, and their parks department killed it. Like, it is great, and I love it there, and nobody's ever there.
Yeah, because it's a tiny town.
Oh,
I mean, you like
minuscule.
I've been through it a bunch of times, basically only going to Reading.
Yeah.
And it's like there's not much there, so to have a nice skate park in a tiny town like that, you probably have it to yourself a lot.
So I don't know if this is true or not, but what I heard from a local Corning person was that they won the grant out of, it was basically a submission based by Parks Departments.
Oh, okay.
Of who has the worst park.
Oh wow!
And
like
Corning,
original, like original. What are
who has no resources for recreation?
Okay.
And Corning won, and so they got this huge grant, and they were able to make like 2 soccer fields and like 2 playgrounds and a huge skate park, and like that's what I've heard. I don't know if it's 100% true, but I like to think that it is. Yeah, that sounds hilarious.
That definitely makes
They're
sense.
Like, we are the worst. Please help.
I can't think of a better reason like why a place like that would get an entire.
And it's perfect because those kids need something.
Yeah.
Like there is not a lot to do.
And not a lot either way. Too. You're a little isolated, like on. For quite a ways, like both distance, so.
And Sacramento River is dangerous, and it's scary, and like it can be super dangerous if you don't know about, you know, currents and stuff, because that river is.
You always. It's funny. Sketchy. All these ones around here, you always hear that. Don't go in there.
Yeah.
Like there's, you know, and you. I mean, there's definitely been a lot of stories, even here at the river that's right, you know, over like a couple miles over here. That one. Probably been like a bunch of different people like over the years that have had like undertows and different stuff.
There's weird current systems in Sac especially, and it's like
careful in the river.
Sketchy. Yeah, careful in the river.
I mean, it's funny. Like I love rivers. Like I grew up like basically like whitewater rafting, and like I love, but it is not something to joke around with. That's for sure.
No, and so I'm glad that they got that park, and I love that park. I don't skate at the Chico Skate Park for any other reason than I broke my ankle there.
So, okay, so I was gonna. I heard you tell that story on Jake's, and I wasn't sure if it was just like it's just bad juju, or sometimes people are like, hey, scenes in certain areas are just kind of.
I mean, it has a scene, but I used to not like it. Now I'm kind of like understanding it a little more, and they have a cool community there. It's pretty tight knit, but it's cool, and they're usually pretty good people over there. Okay, and there's some awesome skaters there.
Yeah, I would imagine being such a college town the way it is, I would imagine that you would always like have probably a ton of great skaters in the area. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Chico does have a bit of a homeless problem, so, and it is in that area where a lot of people have congregated, and skate parks are kind of
Homelessness and skate parks are
so
tied hand in hand in a lot of ways.
that can also be an issue at that park. But honestly, like for me, I don't like to get in anybody's way, and that's a very crowded park, and so mainly the ankle thing, and then I don't like feeling in people's way. And if there's a bigger open park that I'm used to, 30 minutes away, I much rather go there.
Yeah. No, I remember towards the later end of kind of my skateboarding career, whatever you want to call it, is a church that was out here had created their own skate park, like a super nice one.
Glad Tidings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we all stopped just going from the Yuba City skate park. We just started going out there. It was just cool in its own way. We kind of had, not all the place yourself, but for the most part, like really had, it had like a different kind of vibe out there that was kind of a little more chill. So
that's where the local only kids skate.
Oh.
Yeah, all those videos that they send us are from Glad Tidings.
Oh,
Those
okay.
guys
So
are
cool. Okay, so there's a little crew of them that are out here.
Yeah. So
they also have like their own clothing stuff that they do.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Yeah, they're super.
That's honestly been another really cool part about kind of like doing stuff with the skating community. Is there's a lot of really like talented individuals, whether it be with skateboarding or like creating like brands and like products. I think that's also where we met Carlos, or because of him going to Corning.
Yeah,
and
Carlos LBS.
Okay.
Yeah, he makes my hat. These hats are sweet. His clothes are sweet. It says skate ass, eat fast.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, he makes some pretty good clothes. I like him a lot. He makes boards too, which are all super cool, and he designs them, and they're super.
Have you guys thought of doing that as well?
We have.
I mean, because I know it's like, it's the process. You like kind of buy boards and you have them printed, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of.
Or you can buy them like from a company that just prints.
They
like
just
you
print
send them
you.
a PNG. And,
Yeah, they just print them for you like that.
But I don't know. It depends on if we find. I'm so picky
with your
on
board
skateboards.
itself.
Like, I'm horribly picky, and if I don't like a board, I just can't ride it for some reason. And like,
so if you could find a company that has like the board you would pick and ride yourself, and get them to basically make your products for the same
and
as
quality wood, and like maybe if I could find a company that makes skateboards that's like super about like conservation, I totally support it.
See, that's 100%. A cool one too, and that's something I really wanted to get in kind of as well, and you were kind of already going into that a little bit, but kind of with what you're going to school for with kind of conservation management. I mean, I know for us, it kind of ties into everything that we kind of hope at, at the Peach Life with the podcast and with our YouTube channel. Everything we're doing, it's about that. It's about like basically repurposing things that you can, just being as sustainable you can, being as not necessarily just as off grid, but being as environmentally stable that we can create. And I love that, like, as you were talking about that, and I mean, I'm sure that kind of goes in. It can't not go into people's thought process.
I hope not.
Yeah, to have a company, and that be kind of the kind of background things, that you're kind of going for, is that it seemed like a great tie about like how can we, have, a great product, but also think about recycling, think about where our materials are coming from.
And it's interesting to see this kind of trend that's happening now, because companies know how to get us. Companies always know how to get you and pull you in, and so we're seeing this like level of greenwashing with a lot of companies.
Yeah.
Where they're like, yes, we are so sustainable and it's great. They're actually not, but like they know how to pull in our generation, because I think our generation is extremely worried about the environment. Not to say that any other one isn't.
Yeah.
But we've just grown up with being like, wow, it's really hot.
Yeah.
And, wow, it's raining in weird times of the year, and it's snowing in April, and that's worrying, and like stuff like that. So, I think humans are resourceful. I think we'll figure it out eventually, or not. We'll see what happens. But I think it's better to start now, planning for conservation-minded everything. Yeah. Because I think that's how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and it's, luckily we're slowly working our way there, but slowly, obviously it's like, you know, we live in a pretty big machine, and pretty big machines don't turn very fast.
But it's still minimal living, which is like you're living off of minimal resources.
Yeah,
is what you're doing.
And hopefully for everything that we're able to do and you know, continue to do is to kind of just to live that and, you know, kind of promote that is, you know, is kind of my biggest goal with the podcast, but, you know, just kind of our life in general is like, I just kind of want to live like a really simple homestead life that like kind of gives back as much as, you know, we can take from our property and, you know, what we eat and just kind of everything.
Yeah, that's great.
And, you know, and it just seems like finding companies, and that's why it was cool, like kind of getting to kind of know and hear your guys' backstory and to kind of get to know you guys too, is like, you want to work with people that kind of have similar back visions and similar kind of goals. Where do you guys kind of see as far as with the company? Where would you guys like to see yourself in, you know, 5 years, 10 years?
I mean, from my end, I really want us, like, kind of like I mentioned earlier, I really want our company to be kind of a stepping stone for artists and just people that, like I said, don't have like the resources to do what they want to do, or they don't know how to promote themselves. I think that's one of the really big things that I'm kind of working towards, like with the clothing company this year. And I mean, we kind of like talked about it a little bit before the show, like even like that collaboration we did with Gravy Goods. We kind of want to like have our platform be something that people can come to us and be like, hey, like I really like your stuff, and like, you know, we can work something out together. I'd be happy to either help promote them or do some kind of collaboration. I know I have one more collaboration that I'm working on right now for another similar thing that we did with Gravy for a giveaway where they take one of our clothing and then they, you know, like they do their thing with it.
Yeah.
And so those are really fun.
Those are really cool, and I hope you guys continue to do those because those are just awesome.
Oh yeah.
He does really cool work. I met him this year, and that was like, it's one of those things where like, you start doing something and people just fall into your life that are also extremely talented and do similar things as you, and you're like, oh, cool. And then Chico is weirdly small.
Yeah,
so
for being a pretty big town, I know what you mean.
Yeah, like you'll meet people and be like, oh yeah, like you know that guy. Oh well, I know this guy, and we're all connected and stuff like that. Like I've met people that I've only had a relationship over Instagram, like other artists and stuff. And then like they'll come into where I work and they'll be like, oh, you run that? Like, oh, that's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like that's I don't actually know him in person, but like that's super cool. And it's just like Chico's weird like that. So it's cool to like network, especially like I was doing all of my networking through the college because I work and I go to school and that's it. But like being able to go and meet people at school,
I imagine that being the best place you could ever try to start and build. And I imagine and is everything still? How is that right now as far as like is classes even
so annoying
in session, or how are they?
Well, yeah. So I've taken a full 2 semesters. Like I haven't stopped going to school since COVID started.
Okay.
It's all online and it's through Zoom, and it's not as bad as I initially thought it would be, because when I first heard that we were all going online, I was like, I'm failing.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be awful. I'm not going to learn anything. But it gives you a different set of skills that you probably wouldn't ever get ever. And I think in the long run that it's going to help us later in life if something like this ever happens again.
Okay.
Or just connecting with people not face to face, like non-personal, like communication.
Yeah.
Like, and constructing emails that sound real, like a real conversation, or talking to people on Zoom and not being freaked out about it, like talking to a camera.
Yeah, and that's definitely been a different one for this year.
And it's cool. It's awesome. I really would like to go back to school.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Does it feel almost like cheated in a way? Like, because I mean, there's a college experience that I think people are usually looking for, and I could see, for me, that would be the biggest thing. I would feel maybe cheated, on or from.
I was pretty pretty upset because this is my last year of college.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
like, well, I have one more year, so I'm really hoping that we will go. But I only have one semester of classes.
Okay.
So I have literally one semester left, and I'm really hoping it's going to be in person because that'll be like my last semester.
Yeah.
But I have talked to my friends who are graduating like right now, and they're like, yeah,
It's probably not.
yeah, it feels a little cheated, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they gave us some of our money back, so I feel less
Okay.
cheated,
Yeah, that, I mean,
which is nice.
that's
What
that's a
they
big
should
deal.
have done, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because they were like, yeah, you pay, because we pay like $900 for all the resources on campus.
Okay.
Right, so the gym and the food pantry and stuff like that, and we didn't have access to any of that. So like, why are we paying this $900? And I think enough people complained.
Yeah,
that they were like, fine, like here.
Yeah.
And so they gave us that money back, which was cool. So I felt less cheated.
Okay. Yeah. Now, how was that as far as now? You guys were in the town itself and had stayed when probably tens of thousands had left.
Yeah.
How is that? Like, that just must have been kind of crazy, just like almost like a weird ghost town.
Yeah, it was weird not seeing people party on the weekends or like holidays, like out on the lawn and stuff. But I feel like Chico, for the most part, was really bad at quarantining.
Oh.
Yeah, like they were pretty off. Like we skyrocketed to like the purple zone, like nobody's business. We speed ran. Like,
anybody that
getting
knows
infected.
anything about Chico knows that it would be the first place to
Yeah,
literally
dude, like,
skyrocket. That's funny.
It was pretty not good from a health standpoint.
Yeah.
But so I felt like it went back to almost normal pretty fast, and then every once in a while someone would be like, I got COVID, gotta go home.
Yeah.
And I haven't, the hardest part for me is I haven't seen my dad in person for like a year.
Oh, really?
So that's super sad for me because I'm really close with my dad.
I had 3 separate aunts and uncles die during like that kind of like 4 to 5 month stretch. Didn't get to see one of them.
Awful. Yeah, see, stuff like that,
yeah.
horrible. It's horrible.
And yeah, so that's been such a, just like a, such a crazy experience for kind of people's, people's everyday lives. And now that we're kind of winding up out of it, it was kind of, or whatever version of that is, it was kind of great getting into kind of contact with you guys right about that time as well, that kind of, you guys were kind of coming back online full
yeah, I believe you like messaged me like the day before. I was like, all right, like we're gonna start like ramping everything up.
Yes,
and I thought that was I was like, if anything, that was just like, all right, this is a sign that yes, this is the time that we need to start up, because if we have people reaching out to us, it means that like we're doing something.
Yeah.
Because like we've had like some people reach out to us, but prior to kind of like around where we are now, we were the ones that would have to reach out to people,
gotcha, yeah.
but now we have like music artists reaching out to us, like standard like artists,
That's
graphic
amazing.
artists, like wanting to know more about what we do, or like even just reaching out to be like, hey, like I really support what you're doing, like
yeah.
And so now that we're seeing more of that, it's like, okay, cool, like we're really establishing some kind of like community here, whether it be just in Chico or just like a community of artists. We're starting to do stuff to where we can't really stop right now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we kind of throw all that away.
Oh, absolutely. That's been one of those funds. I mean, even with the podcast, that was the greatest part. It's like the second you did it and it was done, and the first we were like, okay, well, here we go. Like there's no stopping now. It's like you kind of step out there, and once you get your feet out in the water, you're like, okay, well, we're going. So.
Yeah, I think that's super, like, it's insane to me because I never would have imagined that someone would, like, hit us up and be like, hey, you want to do this?
Yeah.
Like,
hey, you want to do this? You want to, like,
I would
collaborate?
Love to do that. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's honestly, like, humbling in a way. Like, it's just, like, it's super cool to be like, wow, like, there's people actually interested in what we do that goes beyond just, like, thinking our shirts are cool. And I love that. That's definitely, like, one of the best parts about this.
Because it seems like today, like, I mean, it's the absolute truth. Anybody, like, I could probably give my daughter an iPad, give her some little time, and she can come up and create a shirt and then create a brand. But like, what's more than that? What's deeper? What's under the surface? Like, what does this company actually, like, actually care about? You know what I mean? Because And I think that's the era, you're almost saying it too, like we live in an era where it's like my brand needs to represent my ethics, my brand needs to represent, you know, what version, you know, and it's all over the place. So you know, you can whatever your thing is now, you can have a brand
Oh yeah.
that kind of caters to kind of things you know you hope for. And you know, for me it's like outdoor adventure, fun, environmental friendly, eco-friendly. Okay, like those are what matter to me. And so it's like, yeah, you guys were just like a perfect fit. And you know, I was talking with you guys, it's like I was looking like local. It's like, yeah, you're trying to find all those things, like are there any like really good local brands? Are there good, like, can you start with your community? Like, you know, the internet's really big and anybody can start with anybody around the world, but like, can you start with your own community first? Like, can you start, you know,
yeah,
like at home?
That was a big part. It was like, well, we want to build an actual like physical foundation for our brand. Because yeah, like you said, you can start something that's mainly online and no one that knows you in the town knows that you run it.
Yeah.
But like we want it to be like local, we want it to be like part of the community that we live in. And I think it's worked in our favor. You know, like I said, we've met, you know, the guys from Corning and Yuba that have their own little clothing brands. We've met this girl here that has her clothing brand. Like, so like there's I think a lot of positive things have come from doing it local.
Yeah.
And I you know, to my, like, I'm surprised, like, well, I'm not super surprised because like we're in a college, but I'm surprised as to how many people like I've either knew already or kind of like knew of them, but like I didn't know that they had like this amazing talent, you know, like I didn't know that they were singers, I didn't know that they, you know, made their own stuff, like, and it's super cool. You really get to like learn a lot about what people here do.
And then you make like really good friendships, like us and Jake.
Yeah.
Like, I really like going over to Jake's house and hanging out. Like, it's super cool, and they're like amazingly talented people, and in a genre that isn't like represented as highly as some.
Right. We love their music. Their music is so good.
It's so
like,
crazy.
It's so
good.
unique.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, you know, you meet, and I feel the same way. Like the people that we've met, like just from, you know, starting the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything, it's been like, we were waiting to like, you know, meet more like-minded people. And I guess as, you know, anybody, like for most people, as you get older, have family, have kids, it's like you get usually farther and farther away from like close communities and friends and people. And so for us, like that's kind of been what this whole project has been about, is to kind of create something, but then create a community that, you know, of like-minded people. And so yeah, just finding more and more people that kind of fit that same kind of passion has been super awesome.
And you made your own studio.
Yeah.
Like, that's
That was
sick.
just awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, when you asked if we can come up here, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I actually really wanted to like come up there. They were gonna end up doing it through Zoom.
Yeah, I was so
actually
happy you
pretty
guys were able to
stoked.
come.
Yeah, I was pretty stoked that
I'm
we
so
actually got
glad
to
we
come.
didn't do it through Zoom.
Yeah, because I built it like even in the first place, like thinking that too, like as we really kind of came to the idea that it would be the podcast. I mean, as well as her being able to paint in here, you know, realizing we could do that. It was like, it just created this like bigger vision for this thing too, and it like, I mean, it sparked all of, like we were saying before the podcast, it sparked everything for me. It sparked like, oh, I could do a podcast because there was another YouTube channel that I had watched build basically a version of this. It was a little bit bigger, and I was like, hey, I built this, like I'd love to talk to you about you building it and it inspiring me. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And it just like that in itself like has sparked all these like relationships and just like projects and all these cool things. Is, you know, you never know what one little decision to.
I think everything that you guys got going on here is sweet, and I love the idea of just the whole sustainable living and minimalistic like kind of ideals that you guys are going for is awesome. I think that's what everybody's gonna need to do.
And more people. I think for us, like the journey too, for like our YouTube channel, which is not out, but it will be out as we kind of start this probably in the next few weeks to like month or so, is we try to do everything, and we were talking a little bit about it before, as kind of as cheap and recycled as we can. So even the stuff that we got for like the property that's like brand new, it's still like used brand new. It still like it's still like brand new, never been used, but it like came from either a returned version from like a Home Depot that ended up at a at a Habitat for Humanity or like things. So and then like everything from like the things for the property, like as many things we can, we got for free from like from Facebook Marketplace, things like that.
Nice.
So when we end up like building the house or doing all the stuff we're doing, it'll be like, this is how to do this for free. This is how you could save money doing this. This is how you can get recycled versions of these and not pay like, you know, anywhere near the price. So hopefully with the project that we're working on there, it can be like, hey, this is how you could do all of this for like a significant, like, you know, just a portion of the price and save, you know, kind of teaching ways for people to save money and, you know, kind of start from nothing too. I don't know anything about homesteading or well, any of this stuff. Like I don't know about electrical or solar work or building stuff, but it's
You
like
figured it out.
if we can, it's kind of one of those things like if I, being a total idiot, can do this and figure this out, then there's hope for other people out there.
I think people do not realize how much power they have on their phone.
Yeah.
It's insane because like when we started this up, I didn't know how to do graphic designs or social media posts. I watched YouTube and I learned how to do it. I watched tutorials, and that's how, like, you know, anything that you see us post, any video edits or pictures that, like, you know, obviously you can tell like they were edited. Yeah, like we had to learn how to do that. You know, when we make our designs, like Garrett's just like trial and error, like on Photoshop and Illustrator.
Yeah.
You know, and but like, you know, you're able to learn so much just through your phone that, like, if you want to try to make something, like, watch a video on it, see if you like it, you can end up making it into a business, or you just learn a new skill.
It's all about what you consume on
Yeah.
the internet too, because like you can go in a rabbit hole on something that's completely pointless for hours, or you could learn video editing for hours, or like learn law, or learn, you know, like whatever you want really, but it's all about like what you consume.
Yeah, that's so true, because like I know for myself, I at least use YouTube 5 to 6 hours a day. Now a lot of time it's in the background, but like I consider the way I use it as a complete tool or complete resource. It's like I would consider myself to have probably gotten the equivalent worth of multiple degrees worth of learning stuff in multiple different areas, and just, you know, there's no depth to the level of information you can get out of just YouTube alone.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, like, you don't really need school. I mean, in my opinion, but like there are fields, but like, you meet so many people. Like once you like really put yourself out there and start talking to like other people that do businesses or whatever, you meet a lot of people that didn't do a lick of school.
Yeah,
but you know,
everybody knows millionaires are not made in college.
Yeah,
that is not where. Or so, definitely billionaires for sure are not made in college.
Yeah. But then, like, I think school is like 80% networking.
Yeah. 100%.
And like, cause like I've learned a lot at school. Like I've learned so much about the field that I'm in, and so much about other stuff that I'll probably never use, and so much about other stuff that I probably will use. And a lot of fun facts.
Yeah.
Like I'm full of fun facts. But like, what it really comes down to, especially in the area that I'm trying to get into, it's 100% about who you know.
Yeah.
And not what you know.
Interesting. Are you trying to get into like park management or?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
Anything. I just want to work outside.
Yeah.
With like either critters
like
or
forest or like forestry service or some
forest management or something like that. And that's a hard.
Very hard
to get into, because people do not like to leave those jobs.
No, like every person I've ever talked to in those jobs has said that very thing. Like, very hard to get into. It's a great, you know, it's one of those jobs you don't ever want to lose once you have. So
yeah, so that's the goal. And so I mean, school helps a lot with that. You know, is putting you into those places and bringing people in to talk to you.
Okay.
And then you're like, oh, now I have a connection with them. And I honestly thought that was going to be insanely difficult on Zoom.
Yeah.
But I almost feel like it's easier because people are so starved for connection.
Okay.
That if you make any sort of like, wow, that was really interesting what you said, I'm going to write them an email. I write them an email. Obviously, there's a connection.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane how starved people were for that sort of interplay between two people this whole last year.
Yeah.
So it's cool for that to, you know, be a thing that's still able to happen. We're still able to make these connections, because that's one of the main things I was worried about, especially coming on the last years of my
Yeah.
My degree is like, I need to meet people like fast, because that's how you get a job. Because my degree, you can't finish it without getting an internship.
Oh, okay.
So it's
really?
basically like, yeah, you take all these classes and then you get a job. And if you don't get a job, then
you don't even need a
you don't
degree.
graduate.
Wow.
So it's like, and then there's paid internships and non-paid internships, and I'm one of those people that can't take a non-paid internship because I'm broke.
Yeah.
So like, it's like you either figure it out or.
And then it is a lot of it too is probably a matter of like how far are you willing to travel or relocate for one of these things.
Yes.
'Cause, yeah.
And luckily, I only have to do it for like a semester.
Okay.
So even if I did have to go to Yellowstone or somewhere else, I'd only be gone for like, what is that, like 4 or 5 months? Like,
okay.
I don't even know how long, but doable.
Okay.
You know,
so now would that be kind of part of your like last? Is that considered like a semester, or that's considered like your last semester?
That's your last semester.
Oh, interesting.
And then you graduate. If you can complete the internship, do that semester-long program. And there's some little things about my major that are super weird, like you can't do an internship in the summer, or stuff like that, which is when most of the internships take place.
that's.
And stuff like that. But
yeah. Now is some of that a lot different, or with being in California, or like is there like a lot more schooling and restrictions where you can go other places if you do that, or is
we can go wherever.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's actually, I should probably find out about that, but I'm pretty sure we can go wherever.
Because that's one of those things that like most states, like a California permit for this or that or cosmetology or this will usually like apply to a ton of other states because they're just more restrictive than everything, and you have to go through more hoops. Whereas some states, it's like nothing transfers over to California. Like they basically make you get a new degree for everything.
So for this one, it's not really like you're transferring to a different like school or anything. Like you're not transferring to a different program if you go out of state. It's more like you are still a Chico State student, even if you live and work in Yellowstone. You are still taking those classes, and so it's basically like you take this internship, and then you have assignments based around the internship and stuff that you have to fill out about like stuff that you learn while doing the job.
Okay.
And so it's kind of just like it's like a class month semester long camping trip.
Hey, that sounds like that sounds like it's.
Yeah.
Can I pay to do that? Like I would pay to go do that.
You can. It's $4,000 a semester.
Yeah, right. Seriously. That's awesome.
So I'm super excited about that.
That's cool.
I just want to work outside. Really.
Yeah.
And then if this thing like we're.
Then
cool.
Exactly, and everything you get to cater the company to as outdoors as as you want to be. So that's.
And I would love it. I do want to like kind of start pushing towards like kind of outdoorsy traveling, like kind of lifestyles, which is like another reason that I was like excited to talk to you as well, because I know like that's kind of like your thing as well.
Yeah, and I'm just finding that like that's what I liked, is that connection was there. It's like, oh, there's an inherent intrinsic connection between either like rock climbers live in their vans a lot to travel around, like snowboard, like all these different outdoor activities. Half of these people literally will just live in a van or an RV full time, which catered right along to both things I'm very extremely passionate about. So it's like finding a way to kind of thread that needle of like, oh, you live in a van and travel full time, but yet you're a professional snowboarder.
That's like honestly like one of like my biggest fantasies with this is just like taking a month off, everything, getting an RV or something, and then just going on a trip with like Gary and like everyone that like kind of helps us with the company, and just like go hit up skate parks, go hit up like snowboarding places, like stuff like that. That'd be so much fun.
It becomes a business trip. It becomes a way to go from like this contest to this contest in the wintertime, or same thing. You can follow, whether it's following the tours and obviously once some of these like the SLS and those come back, which they're probably doing those tournaments still right now.
Yeah. They don't have crowds, I don't think, for the most part, but I think crowds are starting to come back.
Crowds are definitely, it's been a weird one too. This like whole like crowds coming back, but very slowly.
Those sports have the cardboard cutouts.
Yes,
that cardboard was so funny. I love that. I think we need to keep that.
Just keep the cardboard cutouts of people or like a little electrical
You can
version.
sit behind them, cut eye holes out of them, and just watch. That's so funny. I know, and like my school is kind of being like really weird about it right now because they don't know what they're doing but keep saying they know.
Yeah.
They're like, yes, we have it under control and we know exactly. You're all coming back. And then I looked today and all my classes are online again. And I was like, huh. Weird. What happened to that last stuff you guys just said?
Yeah, no. When it comes to, it's just funny to me how it's so hard to make a, like, sometimes making a decision is easy, but then like when to finally like and how that will look is like the thing that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's almost like everybody wishes that it'll just like slowly be not a thing to where like some point 2 years from now everyone will realize like, oh yeah, we're not really wearing masks anymore.
Yeah.
But there's never gonna be a day where they come in like, okay guys, we're good. We're all good. Everyone made it. Like, there's never going to be one of those.
Yeah.
It's just going to be some slow, kind of fade like that. I don't know. That's kind of my thought of so same thing with like classes like that. It's like sometimes everybody's just waiting for maybe like the next one to do it, or hey, you go first, and then once you open and you don't get in trouble, then I will. I remember, I was working at a casino at the time before and after when they kind of came back, and that's exactly what it was. Everyone was kind of looking around like, well, what are they gonna do? Okay, what are we gonna do? And then but I'm excited to kind of see that everything's kind of sparking back up for you guys.
Nice.
And same thing for us. Kind of things are really kind of coming into the swing of things in summer here, and so I'm really excited to kind of see what new collaborations you guys kind of have coming out, or new collections. You guys have anything like that in the works?
We do. We have some stuff we want to release for the summer. We're thinking about, I believe I wrote it down as 4 clothing items.
Okay.
And obviously like some of them will have variations, like different colors and stuff like that. So that's in the works right now. We also have a couple collaborations. We're trying to get set up with some artists. And then like our random like collaborations we do with kind of like with Gravy and all that stuff, where here and there we'll make some clothing collabs with some people. And then we have like the Lost Underdog articles, which I love doing. I wish I had more time of day to like get more done, but like like I said, one of the things is to help out the community, so that's gonna be a really big part. Going forward, honestly, like we're just gonna keep doing them until we kind of basically run out of people that like to do them on.
Yeah.
I know we also have this other potential collaboration with one of her friends that also she started her own little like art crafting company.
Okay.
She also does her clothing. So hopefully we can get that going, and then we have the like little sponsor collaboration we're doing with you.
Yeah.
So we have a lot in the works. It's gonna take time, of course. Like I'm really hoping that by the time it gets into like the October-November area, venues start opening up, like music venues. That's gonna be a really big part of what we want to do this year with music artists. So hopefully that goes down, and we also just want to be able to go to events and take our stuff there. You know, and like promote ourselves in person.
We forgot to do this last time. We have to shout people out.
Yes.
We forgot last time. So shout out to Micah Santo, best mailman this side of the Mississippi.
He's a really big supporter of us. We actually really do appreciate him.
Pierce Osborne taking sweet pictures, taking videos. Oren Silverstein dropping off rent yesterday. That was awesome.
Awesome.
Rob Gonzalez always wearing
our clothing.
Triple flips. Always doing nightmare flips. Double tray flips. I mean, it's insane. Always repping clothes. God, there's so many people. Chris Godbout, awesome, making awesome animations, doing great stuff. Follow him, Slurp PDF on Instagram. Okay, who else?
We had some people be very upset we didn't
Oh,
shout
really?
out. I was trying to remember everybody.
My friend Nick Johnson, best bartender. He's
Yeah, I hope that was on camera. Yeah,
sweet.
I think I got 2 of them too.
Kennedy,
Yeah, we got Kennedy and Jade. They've
Kennedy
been
and
really
Jade.
big supporters. Obviously, Jake and them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Jake
Nolans
and
are
them.
amazing.
Gravy Goods. I think we're okay.
Sweet. And then most importantly, you guys.
Oh,
So
yeah.
thank you guys.
Indecisive Clothing. He sent me something and I forgot to take a picture, and it's
Oh,
sweet.
nice.
Yeah. So they're cool too. They're actually in Yuba. So,
Are they? Okay,
yeah,
cool. I'll
yeah.
have to check them out.
Yeah, sweet. He makes. I really liked his shirt. It was super cool. So,
Awesome.
yeah, I think we're good.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys. That
Oh,
was
my
awesome.
girlfriend.
No,
forget.
one last
Okay.
one. We'll get into there for you.
Girlfriend. That's it. Okay, we're good.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah,
That
thank
was
you for
awesome.
having us.